Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video, we're going to be checking out the fast move Acid, which received one of the biggest buffs of any individual move in the Season 23 balance update. Now, Acid, to start with, was a pretty bad move. It had 6 damage and 5 energy over 2 turns, but it just got buffed to 6 damage and 8 energy, so an increase in 1.5 energy per turn. This means Acid is now a Poison-type Shadow Claw clone, and for the first time ever, Dragalge has a fast move that's energy-oriented. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches and take a look at Acid Dragalge in the Great League. Great start in game number 1, staring down Dedenne. There's going to be a Lapras safe switch, and I will respond with the Fortress. Now, when I was theory crafting this line a few days before the new season went live, I actually had the regular Fortress in this spot instead of the Shadow. I ended up switching in the Shadow just because that's what I used today, but I think that the regular would work better because as we saw there, the opponent played the Zeros, which worked out great for me. But if the Lapras ended up heavily investing shields, I think they may actually be able to force switch there because of my slow counter swap. Back in comes Dragalge. Dragalge just going to be firing off the Aqua Tail, looking for a little bit of chip damage in the back. Oh, that's not good. I'm also very, very weak to Shadow Annihilate. Shadow Annihilate going to be firing off the Rage Fist. I did just build a new Blastoise, and it does have a lot better stats than the old Blastoise that I was running. Can I survive 3 counters here? The answer is no. And I'm going to need to Acid this Shadow Annihilate into a range where I can knock it out with an Aqua Tail. They're going to go for the Rage Fist, just ramping up their damage more and more. The Acids are adding up. Aqua Tail wouldn't knock out from here, but I am bluffing a potential Outrage. So the Aqua Tail is going to be shielded up by my opponent. I'm going to be shielding everything as I look to manage my energy very carefully. Annihilate is going to switch into Dedenne, and I will be firing off the Aqua Tail to KO Dedenne, and then it's just going to be a race to the move. Shadow Annihilate, not the tankiest mon around. I'm hoping this will be enough to knock out. Aqua Tail does KO the Annihilate, and we escape with a Game 1 win. Now this is also a problem as I lead into a Diggersby in game number 2. Now Diggersby, obviously I'm ABA weak to it. Both the Fortress and the Dragalge do not do great there. So I am going to have to make an adjustment to this line at some point because there's a few things that I may have overlooked when team building. The good news for me is that I am able to force a shield for me for a counter swap being the non-Shadow Blastoise. So I'm always just going to play the 0-1s, and then I can go for a big farm down now with the Fortress, as Fortress is obviously going to be walling off the energy from this Furret. So Furret is going to go for the Boosted Swift. Boosted Swifts do add up quite a bit, and now I'm just going to tank this move. I can potentially snipe with an Acid at some point to get a small energy advantage, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. Because I'm going to need the lightning fast spam of Dragalge with this new Acid pacing to KO this Diggersby. You can see right off the bat, I believe it's 5 to the first Aqua Tail and 4 to the second. So we do have some pretty nice pacing available on Dragalge. I'm going to be shielding up everything here. They go for the Scorching Sands, fishing for a debuff, but it does not come through. I farm up just shy of the back-to-back Aqua Tails. This is going to be their second Scorching Sands. So this Aqua Tail is going to land. It's a CMP tie, and I am going to shield, and it looks like I can get 2 more Aqua Tails before my opponent gets the Scorching Sands. They switch into Wigglytuff, and I panic switch, and I throw the game. If I just stay in with the Dragalge, I think I'm fine. But in the moment I saw Charmer and I'm a Dragon type, I panic switch out, and all that does is just end up feeding my opponent energy. So, unfortunate, as I do think that Dragalge could have actually clutched that endgame for me, but a really poorly timed swap by me dooms me to a loss as I do not have the energy needed, and Icy Wind will knock me out. We move to the next match. Dragalge again staring down Dedenne, another Lapras safe switch, and I'm going to respond with Shadow Fortress. At the time of recording this, I have not yet posted the Dedenne team, so it appears that other people also had very similar team ideas when it came to team building for Dedenne. Here I go for the Rock Tomb, and this is what I was worried about. If Lapras shields, because I'm the Shadow counter switching the Lapras, life actually gets kind of uncomfortable. So I just decided to concede switch advantage. I'm just going to go for incredible farm with the Blastoise. Blastoise, more than happy to tank the resisted and debuffed damage here. They're going to go for the slightly harder hitting Ice Beam, and once I get the double up on Hydros, I'm just going to pick up the knockout. This way, I will get some damage into that Dedenne, and I'm really going to rely on the Dragalge to try and close out this endgame. So in comes Dedenne. That's going to be hit with the Hydro. I leave myself one rollout away from a move, and in the back is going to be Jellicent. It's the shiny Jellicent at that. Now, Acid is resisted, but due to this quick pacing, I get the Outrage. That does huge damage to Jellicent, and I really feel like Dragalge has a nice anti-meta role here, as Dragalge is now pretty spammy. Just by virtue of it being a Dragon Poison type, it can core break a lot of lines. Here, I no shield because even if they Shadow Balled, I knew it would not knock me out. I'm still gonna no shield. It's another Surf. We can now send in the Blastoise, hoping that maybe we can actually get the 2-shield flex here, but I believe Jellicent has enough residual energy that they can actually make me shield, and they will be able to make me shield. That's a little bit unfortunate. I was very much hoping for the 2-shield flex, but it was not going to work out for me, so I will commit 1 shield and KO and take the win with the Hydro Cannon. We move to the next match as the third Dedenne in 4 games. I do feel slightly bad about this because obviously Dedenne is an incredibly strong Pokemon, but unfortunately it has a really awkward matchup into Dragalge. Play Rough is going to land. That does pretty significant damage. That's a great prediction by my opponent. They're able to predict when I throw the Aqua Tail, and they make a catch and sneak onto Samurott. But I'm only 1 acid away from the Outrage here. Samurott may not realize that. They do not, and they get KO'd. The lightning fast pacing on Dragalge paying off in a huge way. In comes Diggersby, and this is where I would really love a secondary answer to Diggersby in the back. So I think after this battle, I'm going to make a change to the team. Normally, I don't like making changes to teams halfway through a video, but I think I am actually going to leave the Fortress behind and make an adjustment to a Mon that can better handle Diggersby. Because being ABA weak to Diggersby, not something I'm a huge fan of. My opponent makes a catch onto Dedenne. Whether they shield it or not, the game's over. They let it go, and now I can just Bug Bite down with the Fortress, as Bug Bites are going to add up quite significantly. I do survive a Fire Punch, but I may as well just shield and debuff them with a Rock Tomb to survive it even more comfortably. So I commit the shield, now I can go for the Rock Tomb, just continuing to debuff my opponent and just show the raw power that is Shadow Fortress. They go for the Fire Punch, we're able to survive it, and we're going to get the Bug Bite farm down and take the win. And now for the remainder of the games, I made an adjustment. Jellicent has joined the team. Tricky lead in the next match, leading into a Quagsire. I save switch into the Blastoise, and they don't catch, which means that this Hydro will land on its intended target. Quagsire banks energy, opponent going to send in their own Dragalge. They're farming up to the Outrage, but I'm able to make it to the Skull Bash. However, I'm going for the Hydro bait. The bait is successful, and that is incredible news for me. I will shield up because I do want to land this Skull Bash. I'm very happy that I got them to shield the Hydro Cannon. Now I'm going to look to land the Skull Bash, but Dragalge is not going to let that happen. Dragalge commits the shield. They do have enough for the Outrage now. I'm just going to let it go. There's no bait from my opponent, and down goes Dragalge. But now I'm going to bring in my own Dragalge. I'm really not used to the Acid animation. The Acid animation is definitely an interesting one. They do have a lot of energy banked on that Quagsire, and there it is. Quagsire right on cue, launching a Stone Edge, but Stone Edge will not knock out. I can farm up right around 100 energy, and then go for the Aqua Tail. Now I have an Aqua Tail plus an Outrage, so I threw the Aqua Tail, so I will have an Outrage banked for later. Aqua Tail into Jellicent, not going to do much. Jellicent up energy in the zeros is quite deadly. Opponent waiting down their timer. What are they going to be sending in here? They're going to be sending in Dragalge. I get to the Shadow Ball. They catch. Oh no, they catch on a Charizard. One thing that I did enjoy about this team, fire types have absolutely nowhere to go. A lot of people are running fire types because they're trying to beat the bug users. And if you just have 3 answers to fire, then unfortunately for them, their fire type has never been more useless. So now I get to combo with the Outrage that we saved. Dragalge KOs Dragalge, and the game's a win. Dragalge versus Golisopod in the next match. One thing that I was a little bit surprised at, to be honest, was how much damage Fury Cutter did. I know Fury Cutter is obviously an incredible move. Fury Cutter is now Bug-type Psywave, but look at the Fury Cutters. They're doing so much damage to Dragalge, even though Dragalge resists. Dragalge Outrage is going to be shielded. I'm going to farm up, switch into the Blastoise. Let's see, was I able to predict it? Is this the Aqua Jet? And it is. So we were able to predict when they'd throw. We get the catch. They're going to bank energy, sending in a Shadow Tentacruel. Now, Shadow Tentacruel obviously has 2 buffed fast moves now, as it did get Poison Sting for the very first time, which obviously is just still the same as it was, and now it has the buff to Acid. So Scald is going to land. I do get debuffed. I can't get a double up here because of their pacing, so I will just fire off the Hydro Cannon to pick up the KO. I really don't want to concede a farm down. In the back, oh, they have Shadow Matang. Shadow Matang, a very, very cool pick. Fury Cutter Psyshock spam is real. Unfortunately, I only have the regular Matang, and I believe the Shadow is probably a bit better, but getting Psyshock every 10 turns is pretty cool for Matang. I'm going to wait down my timer just a little bit and send in Jellicent, but I'm very far behind. I know that Psyshock is going to do more than any move from the Golisopod, but my goodness, this thing is an absolute spam machine. The thing I have to watch for is a potential CMP sack swap, and they go for it. Had I thrown the Surf there, that potentially could have been catastrophe, but thank goodness, instead of going for it, I just went for the Hex, and we're going to get the farm down and exit, I believe, with the back-to-back Surfs loaded, and we do have the back-to-back Surfs, so we're going to take that win. That was a really great attempt for my opponent, as that was their win con in that scenario. We move to the next match, and we've got Dragalge staring down Blossom, a great lead. Now, Blossom, an Acid user as well. Blossom, I believe, is Leaf Blade Dazzling Gleam. Dazzling Gleam will hit for neutral here, but for Dragalge, we're not too worried about that. I can farm up, again, just shy of 100 energy, and then pick up the knockout with Outrage. Outrage connects, down goes Blossom. They're going to send in Claydol. I pivot into the Blastoise, and I'm going to overfarm. There's a catch attempt onto Feraligatr, and I'm just going straight for the Skull Bash. I just need a guaranteed damage or a shield. They call the bait, and Feraligatr gets absolutely rocked. Now, Blastoise is boosted, and that means that I can actually survive all these Shadow Claws, a second Hydro Cannon, and I should be able to farm all the way down. So they're going to go for the Hydro Cannon here. I farm down, I exit with the back-to-back Hydros. I won't get both Hydros because the Mudslap goes through. But man, Blastoise putting on a bit of a show. Able to grab a shield from the opponent. I send in Dragalge just to get some chip damage here. If it lands, it'll make sure that they're in Surf range, but they do end up double shielding, and now I can just send in the Jellicent. I wasn't able to get it into Surf range, but I should just be able to double Surf even at -1 and pick up the KO, so I will just fire off the Surf right away. And being able to preserve Dragalge, I think, is very, very nice in case I have to reset debuffs, but at this point, Jellicent is just too bulky. I did build a new Jellicent recently that has, as you can see there, really good stats. Only gets the 1488, but the stats were good enough, and I just really wanted a bulky Jellicent, and the bulky Jellicent is going to pay off in this game. We see Dragalge into Shadow Gligar, 1 Acid and a switch into Blastoise. Blastoise, more than happy to absorb a move from the Gligar and just continue to farm, watching for a potential catch. They go for the Aerial Ace. It's going to be Galarian Moltres hitting the field, and it's the shiny Galarian Moltres as well. What a flex from the opponent, and a very important bait out for me, as I have a Jellicent in the back. I do not want anything to do with this Galarian Moltres. Galarian Moltres is going to shield up the Hydro. Blastoise gets to the Hydro number 3, but my opponent plays to the CMP tie. Very nice game understanding from them. But this is going to set up a sick farm down for Dragalge, but not if I get the 1-turn bring in and I don't sneak through the Acid. I should sneak through an Acid that would KO the Moltres there, but instead they're able to save the Moltres, and in comes Gligar. So unfortunately, I am missing an Acid for the remainder of this game. Gligar going to get hit now with an Aqua Tail. I believe that's a CMP tie. I didn't see the Fury Cutter go through. The Aqua Tail is going to be shielded, and I'm more than happy to shield back. So they're going to full send a dig, so that's a massive shield from me, and I'm just going to pick up the KO with the Aqua Tail. Aqua Tail is going to knock out the Gligar. They have like a few HP left on the Moltres. What's going to be that final Pokemon? It's Emolga, and here I should have switched immediately into the Jellicent. If I switch immediately into the Jellicent, I don't have a Loose Con, because I can make a Shadow Ball before they make Double Discharge. But now, I believe this is actually a loss, because I am missing that 1 Acid that I could have got from farming down the Moltres, but unfortunately the fast move got denied, because Emolga should be 4 off a move, and I'm 4 off a move as well, so it ends up being a charge attack priority tie. So a bit unfortunate that I did have that 1-turn move loss, but realistically, if I just insta-switched Jellicent when they brought that in, I could have won. So realistically, if I just play better, that's fine. We move to the final match, and it's another battle of Acid users, Credilli versus Dragalge. I throw the Aqua Tail on 7 here to CMP tie them with a Rock Tomb, just because I want to land some damage before they apply that debuff. I'm farming up with the Dragalge. Opponent get a switch. They save swap into a Lantern. What is this doing here? Lantern in 2025. And I have double water in the back. I fire off the Outrage. That Outrage did not look resisted. My goodness, Dragalge puts on the damage. And now I send in Jellicent. Jellicent does get the shield call right. I'm going to farm up to 100. I do actually go a bit over 100 there, so maybe I should have done one in the move. I just wanted to try and leave with a bunch of residual energy if they no shielded, but they actually did end up shielding. The Hexes plus the Outrage damage have done enough that I should just be able to double up on Surfs, and I can just knock out with a Surf from this range, which is quite good. They're critically left very close to a move, but I believe they're not one off. So I should be able to do one and the Surf, and I am able to do just that. They've already taken quite a bit of damage on the Credilli, so this does actually force a shield. I can make it to another Surf, and I didn't see a sneak. Did they CMP time my Jellicent here? And they did! The Jellicent winning the CMP tie over Credilli. Credilli is going to pick up the knockout with the Rock Tomb. In comes Blastoise, and oh no, they had a Fire type. And again, this team, it just loves seeing Fire types. So this team almost feels like a really solid team that you can use if you're seeing people who are really trying to hard punish Fortress. Because obviously Fortress, it's very strong, but really doesn't like fire. So if you see a lot of fire, maybe give this team a try, because this team does not let fire types do absolutely anything. All in all, I think Acid is a really nice buff for Dragalge. Dragalge, its pacing to me was one of the things that held it back. It had not great pacing. I mean, Dragon Tail's a great move, but with the charge moves that it had, it really wanted something a little bit faster. And with Acid, that's what it gets. Now, does this catapult it to top meta status? I would say no. I think Dragalge is more of like an anti-meta pick / core breaker, but it's really functional now with this new pacing. Having 10 8-turn pacing alternating is really, really nice, even if it's for a non-stab Aqua Tail. It gives Dragalge a really nice consistency and a speed that it didn't have before. So I really liked getting to use Dragalge. And if you're having a lot of trouble with Dedenne teams, because obviously Dedenne is really strong, Dragalge is a Pokemon that can do very, very well into Dedenne, as we saw with the first few games of this video. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoy watching content like this, consider leaving a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you as always to our channel members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide is genuinely just so wonderful. So thank you guys, I owe it very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.